Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back to the show. We are excited to have the dynamic duo here from 3F Living. Really, we have Lindsay Joyce. Excited to have her, who we usually get to talk to, who's the founder and CEO of 3F Living, but her husband. You are the architect behind all of this, Tomek, right?
This is me, yes. Hi.
So nice to finally meet you and to see you both together. Really a creative professional team led by a husband and wife duo. And really your focus is on, well, city living, correct? The interior design and architect design. Would you mind just telling us a little bit about 3F Living today for those new time listeners and viewers?
Sure. So 3F Living is an interior design and architecture firm. We're based out of New York City, run by myself and my husband, Tomek. We help our clients from the initial design to move-in day through project coordination and owner's representation, managing the job site and making sure that everything is followed through, and helping to create a very meaningful and personal environment.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. So you are the interior designer. Now, Tomek, as the architect, because I haven't got to meet you yet, tell me a little bit about your background to start.
Okay, so I should start by saying that I was born in Poland, and I spent my childhood in a Polish countryside. So it was a very kind of impressionable time for me as a child, having all the creativity and the ability to express myself in many ways there. It was really something that I took away from there. And then at 12, we immigrated here to the US and relocated to Port Washington, Long Island, where I kind of discovered my potential for art and design. And that ultimately led to a design school at Pratt Institute. And then I worked for corporate for about 10 years. I worked at an international design firm called HOK, where I really, kind of got the foundation for the stuff that we do today. It was an amazing experience that really was something that helped us build and elevate 3F Living to what it is today. And that's also where I met Lindsay.
That's it. I was going to ask. You got to tell the meet story again. Yeah. How did we all meet? And what year? What year? Set me back on the timeline here.
Well, yeah. So I mean, we were in. He was there before me at HOK, but I got to HOK in 2008, literally September, as when the market was crashing.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
You're right. That was a year to remember. And that was the year that both of us met, but we were both with other people at the time. So it wasn't like we were just kind of friendly.
We were very good
buddies.
friends at HOK. And then she left to start 3F Living. And I worked for corporate for a couple more years. I worked for a big engineering firm here in the city where I got to work on some of the new skyscrapers that just went up. And, in the meantime, Lindsay and I got married and took, and really thought about 3F Living as something we could do together. And
so what was that transition like now from you leaving the corporate world, right? And to now working for yourself? Do you mind sharing some pros and cons of that? And by the way, I didn't know you all lived out in Port Washington. I live further out in Suffolk County in a town called Holtsville, but fellow Long Islander right here.
Love it. It was a great, I mean, it was such a nice town. It was kind of a sailing town too.
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
Very beautiful, picturesque place to grow up. But yeah.
Pros and cons of working for going to 3F Living.
I think the most eye-opening thing was the lack of resources, and how when you're working for a big corporation like that, the resources and the infrastructure for running the business is so integrated into the day-to-day that it's easy to kind of overlook all of that until you have to establish it yourself and kind of create everything that you need to run the business
from scratch. I mean, I can tell you a story. This was really funny. So like about, I would say maybe 6 months from him leaving corporate and in our old office, it was really small. Like we were literally sitting back to back in a very small, like 5x5 space. And I just remember him saying, I just hope one day, Lindsay, we have a printing room that has pens and people that can help us with like the plotter and all the things that like you get. I mean, that's a really small part of it, but like, it's just the convenience of having people there, the stability, I think also was a very different, it's a different mindset too.
It's all very structured, and but it also, you know, not having that and having the ability to build it from scratch gives us the, you know, the a chance to kind of optimize it for what we do. So you know, it's definitely there's a silver lining to it.
Got it. Well, Tomac, tell me, what is your role and responsibility here at 3F Living now, and how does it differ from what Lindsay does specifically?
So I am the architect of record, which means that I sign off on all the jobs. It is also my responsibility to make sure that we're complying with all the codes, the building regulations, that we have all the approvals in hand to get the work started and going. And also, you know, we're the architecture portion of 3F Living is very integral to the design process, because we're, you know, taking all those factors into account. We, you know, kind of come up with the best layouts and really try to elevate the design to its highest potential.
Interesting. And by the way, I don't know if we established this off the top already, but the website.
Oh yeah, it's www.living.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at 3F Living.
All right. So what advice would you give homeowners on where to invest your money when renovating?
I would say probably invest in the infrastructure, invest in good plumbing and electrical and
An
you know
overall
that
plan, I think.
and
The overall
yes.
like layout of the space is very important. I always tell clients that, you know, floors are so important. So even if you're looking to like flip the property, you know, in some way, at least somebody can come in and look at the floors and say, oh, at least I don't have to redo the floors. So if you can like buy a space, do new floors, make sure that the foundation there is done correctly, then at least it's a little bit easier to sell it. Or, you know, even for you long term, if you're looking to kind of piecemeal or phase in construction eventually on a long-term investment, that's also a thing that you would want day one, because if not, you're moving all your stuff out to do the floors after, which is even more problematic. So
interesting
layout, you know, which you know, which means that, you know, for me personally, I think one of the best assets an apartment can have is a great flow and you know, clear division of spaces. And I think that, you know, if you are planning on changing the floor plan, go that extra step, listen to your designers and you know, go with the optimum layout, because it's something that everybody experiences moving through your space. So it's something that's very visceral and you know, something everybody can access.
All right. So wait, now how long total have you been working together for again?
So we've been together for about 11 years, I'd say, right? And we've been working together since 2017. I think
16.
Yeah. Oh, 16?
Yeah.
Whoa. All right.
And how is that going? How do you balance the work life and personal life together?
So I mean, I think that one of the things that we do, and we're not perfect at it, you know, we're still, even now, still figuring it out. And I think that the thing that helps us is that we're not doing the same thing, right? So even though we work together, and we're together all the time, we are doing two different things. We're heads of two different, you know, departments within our company, and we obviously come together, but we also kind of are working separately too. So we do have that space to kind of have our own moment within the workday. And I think that, you know, one thing that we started instating was, you know, phones are down, you know, at 8 o'clock. Like we can't, you know what I mean? Like we're not going to look at our work phone, you know, when we go out to dinner on date night, like we'll sometimes fall into like, oh, you know, I was thinking about this
client
and this is what we're doing. And then like, what, you know, and I'm like, no, we gotta, you know, or he'll say, okay, enough, like, let's turn it off. So you have to be so present and really try
and mindful, yeah,
and mindful. And I think also, and this is for me, but he probably has a different idea of it, but I think like setting boundaries, really setting boundaries for myself, setting boundaries for each other, setting boundaries with our clients you know, that's
We
a
kind of have to
way.
compartmentalize everything into, you know, into the activities basically, so that we don't overlap too much.
Now, just curious, do you have office space or do you
We
work
do.
virtually? You do, is it bigger than 5x5 now?
Yes, yes. It's a storefront.
Wow.
Walk in right off the street.
Amazing.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
great. So you got your pencils, your pens, your office supplies, printer, copy. Oh, look
Yeah.
at you. All right.
I know, I know. It
Dreams
took a
do come
decade.
true, right?
It took a decade, but we're good.
All right. So what advice would you give couples that may be considering working together?
Do you want to take this?
I think
What is your
I think patience. I think that it takes a while for people to discover how the comfort zone and place within a situation like ours. And I think that it takes patience, takes open mind to kind of see through that. And I think that, you know, once you hit that stride together, it's very rewarding.
And I think that's something that we did was that, you know, I think I had said this on a previous episode that,
Yeah.
you know, as the company started, we, I had thought like, okay, we have a storefront, you know, people are going to come in, buy some furniture, buy some candles. So it's almost like a home good, but also selling
Yeah.
on design services for kitchen, bath, and all of those things. But then it transformed over the years, prior to Tolmec coming on full time, into really doing full blown architecture and full guts and combination projects. And as soon as that started happening, I was basically saying to Tolmec, can you moonlight? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Can
Yeah.
you do a little bit after hours and help out? Because I don't want to give these designs to another architect just so that they can stamp it and charge us an arm and a leg to do that. And so he was able to do that. So we started kind of working together after hours. And so we kind of slowly integrated that. So I think that that was one thing that helped us, not going full throttle right into it.
We kind of eased
We
into it
eased
a little
into
bit.
it that way. So that might be
Yeah.
something that, like, if you're thinking about, you know, working with your spouse, you know, just ease into it and still have that stability of maybe having that other job. I guess it depends on like what you want to do together, but that is something that did work for us.
All right. Now, what would you say? Is there some popular trends happening right now in the architect interior design world that maybe you want to share? Things that are maybe here to stay, or maybe things that shouldn't be?
So I feel okay. So I've been calling it, and I may have seen this somewhere, so I don't know if I'm coining this phrase or not, or if it's just something that I'm thinking of, but it's almost like a Art Deco Modern 2.0. There's like these, a lot of curves are happening in furniture. It's happening in even the millwork that's been kind of being kind of executed in the design world right now, where you see, instead of having like a straight, I'm sure if you're on Pinterest, everybody's seen this, instead of having like a cabinet that's just like a straight rectangle, you'll see kind of like a little circle or a curve at the bottom that just kind of gives that kind of homage to Art Deco. I also think like layering a lot of earth tones right now is also a big thing. And, you know, white oak is something that came in quite a few years ago, and I think it's here to stay. And I actually love that. I think that, you know, the white oak, the chevron patterns, or even the more classic patterns like herringbone and even some parquet inlay floors, when you do that with white oak, it just has a more modern feel, but it still can be within a classical kind of style, that elegance. And I think that an interesting one that I'm seeing lately is painting your base molding, walls, and ceilings all the same color.
I've never even seen that. I will have to Google some pictures of that later. Really?
I've been seeing this a lot, and not in like huge spaces,
Okay.
but more in like if you had like a home office or even like a kid's room. So almost creating a very tonal environment instead of seeing, you know, like the base molding contrast. It's just more calming, a little bit more soothing, you know, again, going with like some rose color accents, some green color accents with that kind of like more beige, warm tone, that kind of creates a nice background for it. And I love that space. I think that earth tones is something that I feel like almost anybody could walk into and kind of get behind. I think that gold and brass tones has been big for the last few years. And I think that that's always going to kind of come in and out. So one advice that I would give people is if they want to do something trendy, but they don't want it to be like permanent, do it with like door handles.
That's what I was just going to say. The knobs, the handles,
Your
because those
knobs,
can be
your
taken off.
handles.
Yeah.
Do it with the paint, do it with light fixtures, things that like, 5 years from now or,
You could just
whatever,
change
okay,
out.
change it
Mhm.
out, but when you're going full throttle and you're like, okay, I'm going to integrate all these curves and this stuff in the millwork, just know it's there.
Uh-huh.
I think that that's great too. Like I'm all for that if you want like a specific style and it to be within your entire home. But a lot of times we live in like the 80-20. So like 80% is more of like, something that everybody could kind of walk into and appreciate, and a little bit more transitional. And that 20% is really made for that extra, to be a little extra, with like your accents and things.
All right. Any advice you want to share to anyone out there who may, want to start working together? Any architects and designers that want to start their own business? What advice would you give?
So I think that, when I had left corporate, I had known that I wanted to do that. And I think that one thing, you kind of just have to go for it and know that you're never going to be 100% ready. So if you're a person that's like, okay, I have my list, I check, oh wait, but I didn't get to that. Okay, so I can't start this whole thing yet.
Yes.
I can't make that jump. I can't make that leap. Well, you're never going to have everything ready off your list. You're never going to have 100% ready. Know that you're going to live in the gray most of the time, and that you will fail endlessly.
Mhm.
And you have to be okay with the failure. You really do. And that's the only way to really achieve greatness, is to have great failures, to understand
persevere, keep going,
what not to do. So
keep trying new things.
yeah, and if that's not something that's like something
Okay.
you can kind of live with, then I would advise to maybe not go that route. But I think that keep moving forward, keep, like Tomek said, persevere through it. And if you really want something, you're going to get it.
Just be ready for long hours.
Yeah.
Got
And
it.
never turning and find a good lawyer and an accountant. That's day one. If you're really into it, there's a million different ways, especially for interior design and architecture businesses. Are you an S Corp? Are you a partnership? Are you an LLC? All these things, especially in our industry, mean different things, especially when it comes to taxes and accounting. So definitely find those two first.
All right. What advice would you give, to someone who's looking to hire an architect and interior design? What would be some questions maybe that they should be asking?
Well, I definitely think I would always, if I was interviewing somebody, I'd want to ask for 3 referrals, and for one of them to be within the last 3 months of working together with somebody. So even if it was an ongoing project, I would want to talk to, a client referral of an ongoing project and recent past projects.
Okay, good.
I also would like to know what kind of vendors do they have within their group, and why do they have those relationships, and how long have they had those relationships? And I always would check out like social media and, Google reviews.
Google reviews. Yep.
Very important. And I also think, I don't know if I'm forgetting anything. Would you do anything else if you were hiring designer or architects?
Well, I think you got to certainly do your research, and make sure you bid out the project so that you have a comparable cost to go by.
And add services. Add services. Ask what will create additional ad services, and when would that happen? Because see, that's something that we have bold and underlined in our contract.
Like so and so not included, but some people, it's good to know what else is there beyond this, because people don't want to be hit with added expenses, but it will happen. So it's good that you tell them it's probably going to be this for permits, probably going to be this for, That's always good, doing your due diligence. And I think giving your client all that information as best to your knowledge as you can. Awesome. Do you want to share something you're working on? Anything fun and exciting happening right now in your world?
Well, we do you want to say it? Go ahead.
You can go ahead.
All right. So we are actually launching a YouTube series.
Yay!
Yeah.
Tell me, congrats.
Exciting project. We're actually gonna be renovating our own home.
We just purchased
that
it.
we just purchased.
Yeah.
So we're going to be documenting it and taking our followers and anybody willing to listen on the journey through the process.
Yeah, and it's going to be launching on April 20th.
Okay, awesome.
And so you can subscribe at 3F Living if you want to see that. And the show is called Renovating with 3F Living. We did it our way. And
so cool.
Yeah, so we're excited, and we're hoping that it like helps people understand the process.
Now, is this the Upper West Side apartment, or is this somewhere else? This is okay. Awesome. Good to wow. So we're gonna go start to finish head on with this.
Start to finish. Yeah. The good, the bad, the ugly.
This is a great idea. So
revealing series.
So let me ask, I mean, I know you were just finding out about this now and it's not starting till that day, but so has the renovation really already begun and the filming and all that, or no, it's actually going to start?
Yeah, so we started filming more of the behind the scenes of it. So we filmed our current living situation, which is basically my parents' studio, where we are currently living to save money so we don't have to rent, pay mortgage and maintenance and all the things, with our almost 5-year-old son. So that's a very interesting thing to see.
Yeah, Tomek, I have a 6 and 8-year-old. I get it. Yes.
We're living in a glorified hotel room right now.
Yeah.
And then
we're learning a lot about how to live in small spaces. So hopefully it informs our design. So
yeah, but we're still waiting for board approval for our package to be approved for renovation. So we don't have permits, we don't have any of that stuff yet. So we're really in the beginning stages of that.
Yeah, we're very excited, and it's going to be a really fun process for us. And we hope that it's an educational one for others.
Amazing. I'm tuning in. This is awesome. Yeah. Awesome. And you mentioned before Google reviews. I think it's important. And if you don't mind, I just want to share some of them about you and 3F Living in the company. So this is from Giovanni, who's a homeowner, saying that Lindsay and Tomek are amazing. 3F was referred to us immediately and without hesitation when we wanted to complete the legalization of our combined apartments. We had a very specific deadline, and Lindsay was extremely professional and knowledgeable about the process. Like any project, it didn't come with curveballs, but Lindsay and Tomek were always extremely communicative, which is so important, and solution oriented. They know how to pivot, manage the process to get to the finish line and get the job done. We can't thank Lindsay and Tomek and the whole team enough. Best in class, no comparison. That was again Giovanni. Also, Richard, another homeowner, says we worked with 3F Living to renovate and develop our store branding. Lindsay and her team were exceptional. Her vision resulted in a brilliant modular working environment for students of all ages, birth to 18. Nearly every client states how much they like the design of our store. She really helped maximize our small space, create a comfortable and welcoming environment, and was fun to work with. We look forward to working with 3F Living on our next store. Jesse says, I had a living room, kitchen, and mudroom project that required Lindsay and her team to work remotely. This person lives in Michigan. I was shocked at how easy the process was from a distance. I was also impressed with their professionalism and unique design ideas. Such beautifully designed floor plans. Lindsay is a talented designer who met all my expectations. 3F Living has made my house finally feel like a home. I look forward to working with Lindsay and her team in the future when we renovate our lake house. That's again, Jesse. And there was another one that stands out from Kristen, another homeowner here, says Lindsay and Tomek are at 3F Living, our dream team. As first-time homeowners with a newborn and no prior experience with the renovations, we couldn't have done it without them. And they have a great design, architectural eye, and really focus on all the little details that we were able to maximize our space and create our dream home. So we are happy with the final product, and I have recommended them to numerous friends and will absolutely be using them again in the future. So it's not just city living space you do, you're also doing homes and lake homes, right? I mean, no designs too small or big. Is that true?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing with COVID. It taught us how to work remotely and from afar. And that was one kind of positive thing that I guess came out of that whole experience for us.
Yeah, and
as
we're
a
always,
business.
we're always looking to expand our potential and our horizons. So why not?
Oh, well, this is great. You guys are so sweet. And I love the two of you together. I'm so excited about the YouTube channel. Again, inform us April 20th. When does it start?
April 20th is the first episode, and it's going to be every other week. We'll be updating a new video. So,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness, exciting. And by
And
the
the
way,
name of it, I should say the name of it again. Sorry, I'm
yeah,
new at
please.
launching things like this.
It's okay. Please, please, please.
So, renovating with 3F Living, we did it our way.
Perfect. And by the way, where's the storefront? Where's your office located?
Sure. It's in Upper West Side Upper East Side, 355 East 72nd Street. And it's right at the corner of 72nd and First.
Beautiful location. Wow. And if we want to reach out to you, any questions, tell us how we could do so.
You can go to our website at www.3F living.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at 3F Living.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. And congratulations again on the show. Can't wait to see it launched and be there for it. And looking forward to our next conversation too. You two have a fantastic day. Okay.
Thank you,
Great
Jill.
speaking with
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.